Hello everyone, Krydax here, and welcome back to our Zen Garden experience of pYanodon's Season 3. It's been 4 or 5 days for me since I have played, so I'm kind of trying to play catch up in my brain. I know we were working on Vraux and getting those spun up, so we need to keep feeding them back into the modules to make sure they're good. We need to make the second reproductive complex, and we're working on our 50, maybe 150 pY1 science so that we can do a few researches. And then at that point, we need to redo a lot of our ore patches, which will be a little bit tedious. And that's the Zen Garden experience, is not shying away from those tedious things. Not just doing the minimum, but actually doing things the way we want to be doing them. So we're gonna start out adding another Patreon name. I've got a couple announcements to our Zen Garden. So today's patron is Ascension. Ascension, thank you for supporting on Patreon. And yeah, I mean, it's always a good time to announce, you know, Patreon is the best way to support your favorite content creators, not just me. You know, just because the Patreon takes a pretty small cut. Whereas, you know, like YouTube ad revenue or Twitch subs, you know, we get a much smaller cut of that. That being said, you know, those are maybe cheaper for you or better for the way that you work, and that's totally great too. On the Twitch sub note, those of you that have Amazon Prime, I just want to remind you, Amazon Prime subs are a thing. You can subscribe to someone on Twitch for free every month, and that's on Amazon's dollar. It won't cost you anything. And so that's just free money. You can throw it at your favorite content creator. Doesn't have to be me, but I do recommend you throw it at somebody rather than wasting it. So that's my announcements on that. And then the other announcement that I like to make is just to join the Crydania Discord. The link is in the About section, whether you're here on Twitch Live or you're watching this from future YouTube. And we have a great time over there. We talk about lots of different games, lots of different gaming news. You know, there's people there who are playing pretty much all the popular games, you know, whatever it is you want to talk about. And obviously we talk about Factorio and stuff a lot because that's what we're playing on the channel, but you know how that goes. But yeah, so there you go. Those are all the announcements I have. Let's get back to Zen gardening here. So we needed, let me just look at the whole thing for a minute here. So we had pretty much everything we needed for the stoppers, right? We needed the coal. I think we needed a bunch of coal. And then we just needed the caged Vraux to slaughterhouse and get the formic acid. Yeah. And then the substrate, we were already like going strong on that, I think. Yeah, it's over here. So we're very close. Let me get some more petri dishes to keep the substrate going. Oh, Mandriad, that's you. Fun. You wish you got your Ascension name on Twitch. Yeah, it can be bothersome when you can't get the same names. Let's see. Where did those go? And where do they go? They go here. Looks like we're missing cellulose. Wait, what? What's going on here? Why is that? Oh, right. We just only have one of them running. That's right. And it's out of moss. Uh-oh. Oh, moss was not being supplied. That feels a little silly of me, because I could pretty easily just do this and bring moss. Actually belt it over. Moss doesn't spoil, right? Am I forgetting that? No. Moss is fine. So we'll bring the moss over just in a belted fashion. That's easier. And then bada bing, bada boom. Oh, I forgot to put in the Twitch title. Let me change the Twitch stream. I am going to be streaming a really, really fun game after this. Like today, after I'm done with Pi, I'm going to stream what's called Fractal Block World. Okay, I got to talk about this for a second. I'm already obsessed with it, and I haven't even played it yet. I don't know why I haven't seen this game at all yet, because it's completely up my alley. it is a surreal looking game. Like, it looks like one of those trippy games, you know, like Antechamber or oh, what was the one that had like that was kind of a like infinite tiled kind of MC Escher style architecture. Oh, what was that one called? I played it, but I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, it's got those sorts of vibes, but it's like, it consists of fractals in the game world, and you can infinitely grow or shrink your character to fit into or move out. So like, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's been out for over 3 years, and it's got like 98% positive reviews. So it's clearly fun at some level. It's only $7, so I immediately bought it. I saw like 3 minutes on YouTube, and I was like, oh my god, I have to play this. Anyway, so yeah, Fractal Block World, we're going to be streaming that after a few hours of pie here. So I'm excited about that. Alice in Wonderland Syndrome Simulator. Yeah, something like that, I guess. I don't know if it's quite exactly that vibe, but the growing and shrinking, yes. Very excited to try it out. Okay, so let's go grab what we need for the second reproductive complex. I'm gonna need that eventually anyway. Or no, will I? I mean, eventually I will need it, yes. So I might as well do that now. And we'll grab the coal up here. We were collecting a bunch of coal, I think. Oh, shoot, I also forgot. I forgot to get a mod. People that are here live, remind me after we cut the YouTube tape, remind me to grab the pipe visualizer mod. Someone in the Discord, their name is slipping my mind. Let me look. Amber. Amber in the Cridania Discord made a version of pipe visualizer for 2.0. I am a bit concerned, only for the reason that you can't turn off the vanilla pipe visualization. So I'm wondering how it's going to work together with what's already in the vanilla game. But I'm very eager to try it out. Okay, and we needed more concrete. Where did I even make the concrete? I have no memory of where I made concrete. Which is actually one of the few functions that this search is good for. Oh, it's over by the acetylene, okay. And I probably need a bunch of stone. So I'm just gonna grab that preemptively. Over here. And a bunch over here. How does this map compare to the previous pie maps I've played before? That's a good question. I did, you know, generate a few seeds. I think the pie defaults are so much better now that, well, I say so much better. They didn't even used to exist. You know, there just didn't used to be a pie setting. It was just kind of like default, you know, everything was right in the middle of the sliders. And so I think that's a lot better. And I think they've also tweaked some of the stuff under the hood, because ore generation has a lot of numbers that you don't see that define how big patches are, how frequent they are, how rich they are. And that's separate from the numbers that you control as the player. It's kind of like the default ratios. So I do wish those numbers were more visible to the player when they're making their settings. But basically the richness is pumped up to 500% on everything, which I think is nice. Because honestly, like, you do work through patches in the millions. So having iron be 19 million is a lot better than the default 100% richness, which would only be about 4 million. That would go really fast. So I am grateful for that. I don't know. I think it's a good map. We haven't found geothermal water yet, or salt or sulfur, which are all important. So those are going to be, unfortunately, a bit further away. But that'll be fine. Okay, so we want to make one more of these, which needs more stone brick and iron. We're kind of waiting for Vraux at this point to keep spinning up. Hey, Ashir. My family break was great. Thanks for asking. There have been a lot. I'm exhausted socially because there's been just a lot of. It feels like every weekend and a lot of weeknights there's been something abnormal going on, you know, because of the holidays and people visiting and hanging out with people. And I'm just like, and I'm an introvert already, so socially I am drained. And there's something else going on this weekend. Ah. But I'll live. But it's all gone really well. Like, you know, like I can't complain about the things that have happened. It's more just complaining that I'm tired of things happening. All right. I don't need 51 iron chests, and I need iron plates. And then all we're lacking is some stone brick. And then that should be it. And then we'll put the coal that we collected in here. And then this is just waiting for formic acid, I think, right? No. Wait. Oh, I just never put an inserter there. There we go. Yes, now it is just waiting for formic acid. Perfect. Okay, and now we just need to go grab coal. Yeah, Zinarez, it is difficult when there's increased demands on your time, but you don't feel like you have the margin for that. Why are these not running? What's going on? Oh, our tar is backed up. Okay. So there's a world, I guess, where we need to void tar because we've run out of coal gas. Because isn't this the only way I have to produce coal gas right now? Yeah. Interesting. Oh, we're also getting less because I'm taking all this coal. That's eating a lot of our coal gas. Or is it? Is the coal gas from coal more than the coal gas from raw coal? We get 60 from the first 10 raw coal, and then we get only 40, and this only produces 3. So most of the coal gas comes from raw coal, actually. Got it. Good morning, Demon. What's this tank supposed to be holding? Syngas? Wait, what? Oh, I see now. I set these up in a weird pattern. All right. So, let's see. Why do I have 4 sap trees? I think I was gonna build... What's I gonna do? Oh, it's for the other 2 sap extractors to go onto this reproductive complex. But they already have sap trees in them. Well, I don't actually know then what that's about, but I'm gonna put it away because our inventory is a hot mess right now. I do have tailings ponds, but they're so big. So I just don't really have an interest in storing a million of things right now, and I don't really want tailings ponds. All right, I don't know how raw coal got in there. This is trash dump season. And then the sap trees just go down here. We can put these back where they actually go. We've got a good stockpile of those going now. All right, we should be close on Vraux to actually being able to collect them. I hope. How many do we got? 10 Vraux! Oh my gosh, that's like 1 million. You went back to your 1.1? Yeah. Ugh. That's why I started a new Pi save. But if you're already at Pi side 2, it's hard to restart. I feel that. All right, what are we at per minute? We're over a Vrauk per minute now. Look at this. Look at this. It's beautiful. 1.3 Vrauks a minute. So I'm only about 5 minutes away from being done with stocking these up, and then we'll actually start being able to produce science. All right, let me go grab that concrete. Yeah, Zyner it is really satisfying. One of the joys of the Zen Garden. One VPM. Exactly. I need to hydrate here with my coffee. It's a good morning. Coffee and pie. Nothing better. Beautiful. Oh, these need Vrauks too eventually. And these need power. Okay, so that's all set up. We already set up all the inserters for those. Let's get the flora slowed down here, because we do not need to be spoilaging that much flora. I know I said I would do this later, but we'll just do it now. It should be pretty simple. Like, I literally think we can just do this. Read, hold all, enable, flora. I'm literally gonna say 20 at a time on the belt. Maybe 30. But that should be plenty. Like, I think that's enough that there, you know, it'll be able to get there by the time it's needed. Like, I don't think we'll be needing flora and then not have one here, but I think that will also make sure that, you know, hold on. I'm remembering, for you guys, this was, if you're watching from future YouTube, this was just a few minutes ago that I was talking about all the spoilage things with these and with flora and with everything. But for me, that was just like a week ago. So I don't, hold on. So what I just did, doesn't that alone guarantee, like, without any controls on any of these buildings, doesn't that guarantee that flora won't spoil? No, only if they're running. Sorry, okay. That will guarantee that as long as these are running constantly, that we'll always have fairly fresh flora here. Because, you know, they're consuming enough. Yeah, okay. So if they're running at full speed, having the miner, you know, only have so many on the belt definitely is going to prevent spoilage from ever happening. In fact, I think with the 3-hour spoil time, I think even if we didn't have that block, we'd consume enough flora that we'd never have any spoilage. And again, we already talked about these need 15, and these are averaging out, so it would be really unlikely for a single one to get spoiled. And if it does get spoiled, it'll probably spoil on the belt and not spoil as a stack in the building. That would be incredibly unlikely because it would need to grab 15 that are already really close to spoiling and then not be able to finish the craft. You know, it's like that would just be such a crazy, absurdly unlikely scenario that zero need to worry about that. But where it will be problematic is if the Vrauks stop running, right? And so once we have enough Vrauks and these need to stop running, then all the flora that's circling around is going to spoil. And right now I don't even have any controls for Vrauks in the system. So I may need to install that so that yeah. I mean, that's not going to be a need for a while. Now, but don't I just want Vrauks to run constantly? Maybe I should just never stop. The only thing they cost, at least with this current setup, is power. Right? And I guess they're using up my flora. That's the only downside. Flora is not an infinite resource. So, what's up, Dave? Has Wooba ever... I read the patch. It'll never produce. Wait, what are you saying, Demon? I don't know what you're saying. The Flora Maker? Oh, wait, what? Are you sure? Oh, you know what? You're right. I remember that seeing 1 million. You're so right. I'm 100% sure you're right. Yeah, now that you mention it. I don't know why that didn't set off an alarm bell in my head. You know, that should have been something. Yeah, we need to turn that off. But wait. So, I was under the impression... Because I had a long conversation with people about the... Okay, this is such a tangent about circuitry and buildings reading stuff and things. But I had a long conversation about should the read ingredients... Like the ingredients that are in here, should those be counted towards whatever is, why is small parts not, there it is. So like it is counting its own stuff here, right? Which is a little weird. Wait, where's the 70 coming from? Oh, sorry, not read ingredients. Sorry. Read contents. So the idea is, should read contents or read ingredients be seen by the building itself when it's deciding if it should be running? And I think that it shouldn't. Like, it should... And I'm actually confused, because, hold on, I thought that... Oh no, now my brain's really... Did they change this recently? Oh, hold on, I'm having some sort of crisis where my brain is remembering that this is not what I remember. Because I was talking with, I feel like it was other content creators, and I think it might have been on the beta Discord a while back, so I think a dev even chimed in at one point. And the idea is that combinators... what am I trying to say? Like, combinators subtract their own signal from themselves automatically. Or what am I... What am I getting at? Like, shouldn't this cancel out its own signal? I thought it did, but it doesn't. Or am I just remembering wishing that it did and it never has? Or what am I remembering? So basically, I mean, it's definitely seeing it, but I thought it didn't. That's what I'm confused by. Did they change this behavior? Is what I'm wondering. Because I thought I remembered reading that machines do have some sort of hidden... They do cancel out stuff that's on their own signal. What am I remembering? Like for example, what I'm talking about is, okay, sorry, I'm getting really stuck on this, but it's, you know I love mechanics and deep dives on interesting things. So like if we were to read the hand contents on hold, this inserter won't signal it when it has a Keragen in its hand. Of course, I don't have any Keragen. Let's just use coal. When it has a coal in its hand, it's not going to send that coal signal to itself. Like it won't, like while it's holding the coal, it's not then going to see the coal on this, green chain as one higher. But it shows up there as if it does. That's what's confusing. Because otherwise it would immediately disable it. Well, it is disabling itself. It just happened to start working. So it does see itself. Nothing self-cancels. It was a conversation around these things. I don't remember exactly what the rub was. Because I mean, first of all, the main thing that people want is the ability to like read the contents to a red signal, but then enable or disable it based on a green signal, something like that. That would be really nice. So there's that. That's its own topic of whether you could use red and green signals for these. But yeah, the other topic of like, should things self-cancel with themselves? I'm gonna have to see if I can find that conversation I had on Discord, because I do not remember what was conversed about, and it's gonna bug me. But we needed a distraction anyway while the Vrauks pile up, so there you go. My brain is so... I think, this is hyperfixation. Because I can't stop thinking about it now. Oh, wait, we finished. Sweet. Okay, so we just have 12 Vrauks and 4 cages. You know what that means. It's time to get to chopping. It's time to chop. Alright, we'll just put this right next to the thing. Full render Vrauks. And here we go. Oh boy. And then we are gonna need to put the Vrauk into cages. Poor guys. I almost feel bad. That technically should work, but I always get a little worried sometimes. So I will put the cages into there and then back into there. Okay, and then finally, Vraukies go there. And then here we go. Just need to power it up. And within minutes, we shall have our first PyScience 1. And then I need to get rid of all the detritus here. The rates are actually... we should be okay on rates. Never mind. Here we go, latex slabs. Latex is coming in hot. And then we're gonna have to manually carry that over to, wait, where is it going? Oh, right, rubber stoppers, never mind. I already have that set up. Yeah, and then the rubber stoppers we're gonna have to carry over to the glassware area. The glasswarea. Which I don't even have set up. Crap. I need a glassworks. I need a glassworks making glasswares. Can we make hot air yet? No, we cannot. Alright. So then rubber stoppers come over here. Perfect. What's up, bunny? Alright. And these are gonna spoil, which is sad, but then we get jerky. Route jerky. Rubber stoppers! We did it. And then we chuck those in there. We get our first glassware, and we're now doing it. We're gonna get pYscience 1. Wow. Let's go grab some substrate. Here it is. That should be enough for a while. Y'all, this has been a journey. This has been a journey, but here we go. Our first pYscience 1 is official. Go team. Take a screenshot of that. It's real. Yeah, game is basically over. I don't know what other challenges there are. We've done it all at this point. 18 substrate, 3 glassware, and that gets us a beautiful 3 pYscience pack 1. Wonderful. Wonderful. Hooray. Yay! 29 hours. Alright, well that's basically it. We're gonna have to manually move the Vrauks around. And then the rubber stoppers. Part of me wants to pipe molten glass all the way down here, but then I also need the gasoline all the way down there. And that's pretty far. I don't know if that's worth it for right now. But it would be an option, I guess. So how many what am I saying? Vrauks per science. It's 2 to 1. 2 science per Vrauk. So I only need 25 Vrauks for 50 science. And I think I just did 12. And there's another 10. That's 22. I just need 3 more Vrauks. Sweet. Oh, I do need to put 2 in here. Or do I? No, I don't actually. No. I only need 1 for... I don't need these 2 yet. I only need 1 reproductive complex for exactly 4 Vrauk paddocks. And then when I have the next 4, because this is, you know, the 1 plus the 4 is exactly what I need for half of this 0.1 science per second. So I would like this, because this is 6 science per minute, and that's enough for now to slowly chew through the pi1 sciences. So that is what we're building towards. Also, am I missing a moss? No, it just kind of doesn't have... I guess that's 15 modules is what that looks like. Alright, there's 2 more Vrauks, and we just need 1 more at this point for having enough science for our first science. It's beautiful. I am trying to remember what was my issue with the building seeing its own signal. because there was a really interesting conversation around it, and I mean there were good points on both sides, but and I don't even remember exactly what my points were, and that's part of what I'm like trying to remember is like what even was the conversation about, because I know it revolved around buildings seeing their own inputs or their own outputs as inputs is basically what it was. And you just don't run into it very often. I think maybe the point was that someone was making was that that's actually how everything has always worked, but it never really showed up very often because of just the way that we could control things before. But now it does show up more often with rocket silos and assembling buildings, where the things that they're reading you would want to output separately from the things that are controlling it as an input, but now you can't separate those signals. Maybe it was something like that. Maybe. Can't remember exactly. Hot airs pre-intermetallics. Yeah, it's not too far away. We did look at that, but it does take oh no, never mind. These aren't. These used to be worse, I think. The heat exchangers. Oh, the problem is the coke oven gas, which we can only make with a bunch of rock wool. But this is essentially a 50% prod multiplier on science, right? I mean, it's just straight up 50% more glassware. And substrate is not... it's not a prod multiplier on science for sure, but like... it does mean we could get 50% more science with this Vrauk setup. And we would only need to slightly increase the substrate setup, which wouldn't be too bad. It would require more wood. Vrauk haiku. Ooh. Vrauk spread for progress. Used for Pi Science 1. Make rubber stoppers. It's good. I like it. Alright, surely we're about to get a Vrauk. Yes, there they are. There they are, traveling along. I feel like they should be a little bigger. You know how Flora is like a giant, like, sprite on the belt? It's almost like flowing over. I feel like all the animals should be that way, where like they barely fit on the belt. You know, they're almost too big for the belt. I think the animal sprites should be made a little bigger, like that. And when I say sprite, I mean like when it's on the belt sprite, you know, like right there. Except maybe cotton guts, because, you know, they're tiny. I look forward to having arguments about whether cotton guts are mice or rabbits again. It's always a fun time. Oh, Ashier, it's you. You're the one that made the pipe visualizer thing. Welcome. And congratulations on making Pipe Visualizer 2.0. I am excited to try it out. Remind me when we're done with this YouTube episode. I will download it. Alright, so then we just gotta bring the stoppas over. Get to the stoppa! To here. We get to play Logistics Bot Simulator 2025. And I'm already maybe regretting not doing this the right way. Because I feel like what I forgot in this whole scenario is that even rushing it, we still have to set up so much of it. Like, I basically set all of this up to be automated anyway. So at this point, the only thing that's missing is a few belts going across the base to automate things. So what I'll probably do is cut this and move it somewhere else at some point to give it a little bit more room, and then I just will connect up those belts. Because I said I was just gonna rush pyscience 1, but I've kind of done everything I needed to do. I guess the big difference is this is not the official setup either. So we'll need to change that, and we'll need to actually supply the glassware to the petri dish setup to the seaweed setup. The seaweed is also unofficial. But that's so easy to move, you know, we've already moved it once. So there's really not too much difficulty in finishing the automation part of this. So that's good. Yeah, Zen garden lessons. Yes. All right. 6 is done. Oh, I guess, yeah, it is just 1-to-1 on glassware too. Glassware to science. You know what I want? This is crazy. I don't think a mod could do it. I'm quite certain a mod can't do it. But, you know, modders have done crazier things. I want a split belt. I want a belt where one lane is going one direction and the other lane is going the other direction. That would be so useful. Oh, it would be so nice. I wouldn't say that it wouldn't be used like all the time, but when you want one, it would be perfect for that. And then you wouldn't need, you know, 2 belts. He's finally lost it. That's it. Pack it up, folks. His marble's gone. I want a split belt, cause what I want is I want a split belt that has stoppers on one side going up to here, and then it has the glassware on the other side coming back. I don't want to have to make 2 belts for that. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. But here's my number. Call me maybe. Alright, now what? More stoppers. Transferred over. Continue playing logistic spot for a minute. What's next? Left-handed inserters? Wait. What? They aren't handed. I mean, I guess if you mean like what direction they drop on the belt, you know, when it's straight belt. But even that's, you know, at least with adjustable inserters, that's kind of not really a thing. Hey, Vatamouse. You're close to your first circuits and splitters. Congratulations. That is such a good feeling. I know that feeling well. It's always further away than you think it is. Alright, and then this goes in here. Oh, Heint G, I do know that. I've actually hit on that point a few times in the Factory Must Grow podcast. I think it makes such a difference. The 2 lanes per belt allows for so much. I don't even know what the right word is. Just it allows for so much gameplay that does not exist in other games. It really is crazy. How much it changes things on a multitude of you know reasons. It's like it allows you to have mixed belts that aren't really mixed, so that's amazing. It allows you to get more throughput on one belt without it looking bad. Like from a graphics perspective, you know, items can only be so packed together. But like if you want to, but you also can only have items go so fast from a graphics so it allows for that to be better. It allows for you to not just need to have belts everywhere when you need multiple ingredients everywhere. You know, there's just so many ways that it's great. And I do find it odd that, Yeah, and being able to pull off only half of a belt, you know, by doing something like that. It really is interesting, given how much other games draw inspiration from Factorio. It's interesting nobody's copied that yet. It feels like a weird thing to not copy. You know, there's so many other things that other games do copy. Why not 2 items per belt? Or even 3, you know, go one bigger. Obviously 3 is a bit, maybe even adding more complexity, but it's certainly possible. So yeah, I do find that interesting that other automation games haven't followed that pattern at all. All right, let's get sciencing. Our first pY1 science, we already decided a long time ago, is going to be electric mining drills. So let's get that going. Oh, it's gonna feel so good. Yeah, so mellow, that is for sure a big one, is, you know, being able to just have 4 ingredients accessible to a building with regular and long inserters, which I don't have yet. That's a huge one. Another huge difference is just the, and I kind of already mentioned this, just only needing 1 belt instead of 2 to transport 2 different items is a massive tedium reduction. Like, the game is far less tedious because of having 2 belt lanes, right? Because by having, you know, 2 items on 1 belt, you only need to make 1 belt to go from point A to point B, even if there's 2 items you need to move along. And in every other game, you need to make 2 whole belts for that. And that's kind of a pain in the butt. So it really does a lot for the game. A transport tube that moves 4 items, left, right, top, and bottom, like a plus. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Taronin, I like that idea. It's like a plus shape, and yeah. And you can pull off the top item, maybe, and you gotta rotate it. Yeah. It just feels like there's a lot of interesting gameplay in that category, even, of multiple items per belt, per tube, per, you know, transport, whatever, and other games have just completely ignored it. Alright, I'm gonna spend a bunch of money here and take 200 circuits. I say money, and what I mean by that is, like, my dwindling ore patches are going to suffer for me taking 200 circuits, but it's fine. I think my stone patch is fine ever since I stopped mining, smelting stone brick incessantly. That was consuming all of the stone. So that's helping. Yeah, belt lifts were a big deal for Satisfactory. They really were. They allowed for 3D builds to not be as obnoxious, you know, to actually add second floors to your factory. I do still find Satisfactory to be extremely tedious with just how many belts you need to constantly be placing. And if you want them to look nice and lined up like this, like, honestly, a large part of my frustration with Satisfactory comes from this. You can make blueprints, but what you can't do is this. You paste a belt blueprint next to another belt blueprint, and now you have one big belt. You literally can't do it. All you can do, essentially, and anyone that's played understands what I'm saying. All you can do is this, and then you have to manually click, 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 click. And just being able, like, having to do that just to have belts that look nice going a long distance, that alone is like, there's a level of tedium there that I find really frustrating in Satisfactory. And it's like, I don't know exactly how to fix it. Fix It, that's the name of the company in Satisfactory. But that was the type of thing that I started to get really frustrated by Like I enjoy the game in so many ways, but there were some levels of tedium of like, you want it to look nice? Oh, well, sucks to be you, because you're gonna have to spend 13 hours building just pipes and belts. And I think that's part of it, is that I don't find building the pipes and belts to be the funnest part of the game. Some people don't, they value, like, there's a level to which they're like, yeah, okay, that's just part of the game. Like, you spend hours building these pipes and belts, and I find that at least enjoyable enough that I don't hate it, and I find it very rewarding when you're done, and the whole experience is a positive one. There are lots of people that feel that way. I don't think I'm one of them. So I think because such a large part of the Satisfactory experience is building belts and pipes and just arranging stackable belts and pipes and making them look nice, and then they still don't look nice, and if you want to make them look even nicer, you have to put even more time into it. I feel like that is such a large part of the experience, it subtracts from the enjoyment for me. And that's totally a preference thing. I'm not saying the game is bad because of that. Some people don't mind that. It's different than something like Factorio or Dyson Sphere Program, where you can paste blueprints next to each other and they actually connect, and you don't need to finagle with things for a million hours. Yeah. I do think one thing... Also, Day, thank you for the comment. The blueprint system in Satisfactory is kind of awkward, partially because they're so small. I realize that they don't want to trivialize the game by having huge blueprints, because at the end of the day, Satisfactory is a much smaller game than Factorio, so it would feel a bit trivial if you could paste literally an entire, you know, in-game build in one pace. I think there are levels to which it's reasonable that they don't let you do that, but for things like belts or rails or pipes, I wish you could have a near infinite blueprint size, so that way you could have a belt blueprint that spans, you know, 40 foundations in the game, but you're just not allowed to place any buildings within that. You know, because that way you could make a really long belt blueprint that wouldn't require you to paste a million smaller belt blueprints and then connect them. I mean, belt blueprinting is barely worth it. I mean, when I did a belt bus, and it was definitely worth it, but it was barely worth it. Like, I still had to do tons of work to connect every single blueprint, every single, you know, 5 tiles or whatever. So anyway. Yeah, Dyson Sphere Program definitely does a better job of that because they have a grid system, right? And so the belts can connect in a grid way, and so the blueprints can connect the belts in a way that, you know, because of Satisfactory being a free form 3D building game, there is some level to which, like, things might not connect, and it would be really hard to make it so that they do. Obviously, if you're building on a grid already in Satisfactory, the fact that things that should be connected aren't does feel weird. But I'm guessing there would be a capability that, like, belts could measure, hey, is my input within a certain tolerance of another belt's output? If so, I magically connect them. That's my dream of how Satisfactory would work. So if belts, you know, if you were to, like, get real close and look, there might be like a pixel of light in between them, but they would still connect, because it's like, that's within the tolerance. You know, if they're within 0.05 meters of each other, they connect. Because how often are you intending to build belts within 0.05 meters of each other that don't connect? When are you ever doing that in Satisfactory? I don't think you ever are. Woo! First Pi 1 science done. Oh, this is gonna be great. Now we need to craft a bunch of these. I'm gonna craft 50 to start. Feels so good. Yeah, no force building is also hard. Because yeah, sometimes there's the smallest thing that's in the way and you're like, I don't care that that's in the way, I just want the rest of it, but you can't, there is no shift click for sure. The Now Kiss update. Exactly. Now Kiss. Yeah, there, all that to say, I don't want people listening to the video to think I don't like the game. I just spent 100 hours on my playthrough for 1.0 and I enjoyed most of it. But I think some of these little annoyances bother me enough that it'll never be a game that I can just keep playing forever, because those little annoyances start to stack up and eventually they break the camel's back, so to speak. Oh, these are faster. Ooh, these are mining speed of 2. Nice. So for a full belt, you only need 8 of them. That is so beautiful. Okay, so I definitely want at least 2 full belts of iron. I mean, I probably just need to blueprint the whole thing. And that one's gonna need an extra. The rest should last for a while. These are not gonna last for a while, so 2 more on the back here. And then power. Oh, I need more power poles. Let's do some handcrafting. I could automate power poles now, but I guess we're already close enough to medium poles at this point that there's not much of a point. Is this the iron patch I even wanted? Hold on. Yes. I don't, that's niobium anyway, and I don't want that one. Yeah, we'll use this iron patch. It really does almost feel OP, which is hilarious because it's something you basically start the game with in most Factorio runs. I mean, I know you do start with burner drills, but you're done with the burner drill phase, you know, within half an hour or an hour at the most, even in other mod packs. That's not true. There are some mod packs that extend the burner phase a bit longer than that, but all right. And we're not gonna have to deal with ash. We're not gonna have to deal with getting fuel over here. Oh, it's just so wonderful. It is so just absolutely wonderful. All right, so this will be a highway for... I'll probably actually stop maybe about here and turn left. Anyway, back to the satisfactory thing. Someone had said, like, it's kind of not their vision for the game. And I do agree with that. I do think there's a level to which the game is designed to be a slightly different game than where my preferences lie as a player. So I don't think it will ever be the perfect game for me, because I just don't think it's meant to be, if that makes sense. You know, and that's true of every game, is like, if the devs could wave magic wands to make anything happen instantly, and they didn't have to pay people to program it, and they didn't have to pay people to do art, if they could just like wave their magic wands and make exactly the game they want it to be, would that be your favorite game? You know, and it's like, I don't think Satisfactory ever would be. Which is okay. That doesn't make it a bad game. I think it actually, like, I think their design is very good. It's just not quite in line with what design is for me, right? So anyway, where are we going with this? So is this going to be the birth of a new base? Do we need to not smelt all this crap right here? Because here's the problem. The problem right now is that we're on the cusp of everything changing in terms of like how big the builds are, right? Because these smelting builds, despite being primitive, are very small. And the future iron smelting is going to take up more space than that because it uses pie buildings, and you know they're massive. Even just my iron crushing takes up far more space than the smelting. So I'm wondering if we should now begin the process of not trying to jam everything in here, but then that makes everything really far away from everything, and I fear that as well. I think, though, it's what we need to do. Okay. New plan. New plan. Still got a checklist going? That's actually a great thing. Yes, I do. We're done with that now. Now we're on to this. And I think what I want to do is have this. Does this work on map mode? I don't think it does. No. And you can't go into the fog, unfortunately. All right, I need to get some radar over here then, because I'm going to design some new space here. So we'll do a little bit of dreaming. We're almost done with this YouTube episode. We'll do a bit of dreaming and then we'll be done. And I think I can just use local radars. What's the actual scan range of a radar? It's 14. This is hard. How do you measure? How do I measure how many chunks this is? Is there an easy way to do that? I guess I would need to... Here, okay, I got it. I do 32 by 32, and then I have relative... No, I have some sort of absolute positioning. And that should measure chunks. Okay. So then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we could explore just for exploration. I'm just thinking if it's worth making another real radar or two so we can actually explore some new land without actually having to go drive over there. So we'll get a real radar over here. When our electric assembly machines, they come with intermetallics, which is kind of the next, now that I have PyScience 1, I haven't automated PyScience 1 yet, so the next big thing is kind of redesigning, actually automating PyScience 1, and, you know, doing a lot of redesign pieces. But then the thing after that, kind of the next big milestone, is intermetallics. So for those curious what that is, it's this looking thing, and it requires iron nexylate antimony special alloy, also known as Phoenix. So Phoenix is nexylate and antimony oxide. Antimony is a whole new process that you need to... It's a lot of steps to process, and you need something to mine it that I'm forgetting. What is it? You need... drill heads, that's what it is, and lubricant. Yeah, so that's a thing, and then the other thing you need is this vitrolloy, which, just look at it, it's so expensive, right? It's antimony, duralumin, nickel, titanium, and copper, 1.5 of each per vitrolloy. And I mean, it's not that much harder. Like, in terms of tech, the only thing we're missing is nickel plate, because we'll already have the antimony oxide for the Phoenix too. But The Nexolit's another big thing because this requires Digosauruses, which is a whole thing. And you have to feed them meat or brains or jerky or something. I don't remember exactly what. So there's a whole process there. All right, so anyway, what I want to do is I think I want to make this zone my metals. I think I want to put metal smelting, you know, like vertically along here. And then I'll have a highway on the left and the right that I will use for belts and fluid pipes. So let's get another. I need a lot more electric poles real quick. Let me go grab some more logs. And when do I get mediums again? I keep asking this. I keep forgetting. I need chromium. That's what it is. And what is chromium? Does chromium need anything weird? Doesn't? I think chromium ore just requires syngas. So it's mostly just the research that's a little far away. I spaced out for a bit and it sounded like technobabble. Yeah, that's it. That's all of Pi. Oh, Ashir, you're playing hard mode? Yeah, good luck with that. I will probably try hard mode at some point in life, just more from a curiosity standpoint, but I'm not sure if I will enjoy the design differences of hard mode, because I think being able to void things is more good than it is bad for the game design process. At least with the way that things are designed. And I know hard mode kind of, you know, puts effort into making sure that there are reasons why you can't void things and like actual recipes to then use things up, and it's not just like you have to store stuff up forever. But I don't know, I think there's a lot of things that you should be able to void. And then I think what I'd actually prefer is if Pi itself, there were a few resources you couldn't void for very specific reasons. Kind of like how Nullius was really intentional about voiding. Oh look, a bunch of logs. That was lucky. It's exactly what I wanted. It's like when you play Go Fish. I got what I wanted. Alright, so we'll do a lot of that. I'll put on Q to front, and then I'll make a radar. And then I'm going to make another radar over here. Which means a very long Rygard! Hold on. Hold the phone. Let me grab my Factorio log before I forget. And then I will come back. Factorio current log. All right, cool. When did it autosave? Okay, recently. I hadn't grabbed the logs yet. All right, nothing too crazy. Try hard mode. I'm already on the try hard mode. There is no such thing as Pi without try hard mode being on. All right, so I need to grab those logs again. Where did I get them? I got them from a special chest that was in some random ass spot. It was this one. Oh, I should also write down 120, around 122. Okay. Turn on biters, no evolution from timer killing, just from pollution, and the only buildings that make pollution are those voiding options. That is interesting. I don't... I could see it working, but it would need to be a very fleshed out system. Like, you know, voiding more toxic minerals would need to matter more than voiding, you know, things that shouldn't matter. And then, like, I don't even know. I feel like there would need to be a lot of interesting mechanics around that. But there's something there. I mean, I don't know if I'd want biters in the first place in Pi, but... I'm still very apprehensive about their desire to add enemies to the game with Pi aliens. I do think they're going to take more of like the Demolisher route, you know, where like enemies aren't just constantly attacking you and ruining your base. I'm also apprehensive about stellar exploration because of the things I've already talked about with Space Age, and the fact that I'm kind of apprehensive in general about the idea of siloing your bases. And I find that to be a clunkier experience than having one big base, and I don't know if it's worth it, especially for something like Pi that's a, you know, 1,500 hour gameplay experience. I actually don't know if that's better, because I'm trying to imagine how they could connect planets in such a way that doesn't feel clunky, because there's so many things right now that like you can do that you can't do in Space Age, that are pretty meaningful things that you can't do. Like, oh, I have an upgrade planner. I want to upgrade all of my, you know, tier 1 electric assemblers to tier 2 electric assemblers. Boom, done. Upgrade planner. You know, where you pick the building, right? And like the fact that you can't do this easily in Space Age is a pretty huge difference. Like, I don't want to understate how big of a difference that is, and things that go along with what I just said. Like that literal difference is already pretty big, but there's lots of very similar feeling things where it's like, oh, before you could just do blank once, now you have to do it for all 5 planets, and maybe even for all of your separate space platforms, which aren't all hovering over the place that they need to be hovering over, because some of them are meant to just hover and they don't travel between places, and it just becomes this slog to do something. So like the actual mental overhead of upgrading and improving your factory in Space Age is actually far higher than regular Factorio. And in my mind, Factorio is all about reducing that mental overhead of those big scale operations. And if you have a million things, it should be relatively easy to upgrade a million things. And in Space Age, it's not. So things like that are things that make me fear for Pi Stellar Expedition, because I'm struggling to see how it could ever fit Pi super well. But I also think the devs have done a pretty good job with a lot of things so far. So you know, I would like to trust that it will be awesome and better. But there's a part of me that's like, can multi-surface ever be better? And by better, I mean strictly better. And I'm like, I don't know if it can. And so I'm fearful that multi-surface Pi will be better in some ways and worse in some ways. And then there will be players, potentially myself, who will be like, I don't actually love the new version. And then now we've bifurcated the entire pYanodon's player base into people who don't want multi-surface for more for more like just I don't like that kind of gameplay reasons. And now you've got 2 whole sets, and maybe 3 with the alien enemies stuff, you know. And so I'm very what's the right word? I think just apprehensive, you know. Like I'm not gonna say it's impossible for it to be awesome and exactly what I want, because it might be. I just also, there's a lot of things I already didn't love about Space Age and am fearful about with enemies, and so it's like I'm interested to see if they could make a version that doesn't have any of those downsides. But who knows? I'm just doing some random cleaning right now. Would I try space exploration when it comes out for 2.0? Maybe. I never really beat I never beat space exploration before. I only got to tier 2 science of each of the 4 colors. So I got a medium amount of the way through, but not like crazy far. I would probably give it another go. Especially since a lot of the mechanics would probably just be strictly better in Space Age than they were before. Wait, is that... Hold on. What is going on here? Oh, it needs to be there. Is this... Oh, I'm seeing it with the stone break. Okay, this is another complaint that I really wish they had fixed for Space Age. And I know they can. Oh, well, okay, sorry. I shouldn't say that. I have no idea how the Factorio engine works, so I'll start with that, that reality. But I know that something similar they did is when you're building lightning rods, in map view, you can see the lightning rod coverage. And so it's easy to like place your lightning rod even from a map view as a blueprint. But there's nothing like that for radar. The fact that you can't see radar coverage from map view when you're placing radars has always felt weird to me. And then Space Age, they added the ability to see the lightning rod coverage, which makes me even more convinced that they could do something like that. And I'm like, please, please, we need to see where our radars are covering from map view. And they need to make like a... You know, even on the mini map, it's kind of confusing sometimes, like what colors are what, because there's like a slightly darker blue where the one you're holding is overlapping with previous coverage, and then there's, you know, a darker color where there's not current vision, but then there's a lighter color where there is current vision but also not radar cover. It's like there's so many different colors, it's such a small little window that I think it's kind of confusing. There's my complaint for the day. All right. Now what? So I would do tape line, but it's currently causing crashes. So that's a bit of a bummer. Maybe I can save the game and get lucky, but what's funny is it seemed... I wonder if Rygaard introduced a new bug, or if he didn't actually fix the thing he thought he fixed. I don't know. See if I can get it to crash again. Something happened with me like right clicking it or something. I don't know. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm trying to cause crashes now. Of course, now I can't get it to do it, but does the crash have anything to do with the car? Wasn't I not even in the car, or was I in the car when I did it? I don't remember. I don't know, I can't get it to do anything anymore. I keep hitting T because it's Shift T, and then I open the technology window. I don't know. No idea what happened there, but anyway, So what I was gonna do before the crash happened is I was gonna talk about how great the tape line mod is. Sorry, Regard. It is a great mod. Once that crash can be fixed. So you can change the colors. I actually like the background color to be a bit more faint. And then I like the lines the way they are, I think. I mean, you can always turn the width down a little bit. Now we got a crash just from me changing the settings. Oh boy. Wait. What? Okay, I'll just load this one. That was odd. Does that always happen? Uh-oh. That's bad. Okay, well, anyway, so there are, I guess, a few bugs with tape line right now. But anyway, once those bugs are ironed out, I do like using it. I make the color a little lighter so that having it on the ground isn't quite as big of like a in-your-face thing. And then I use it sometimes to mark out, you know, whole zones for, you know, like, oh, this will be my iron industry or whatever. And the other thing you can do that's really cool is the subgrid mode. So you can see here, I'm holding control and scrolling, and it changes between subgrid and split. So I'm just going to talk about how great it is. The bugs will be fixed. I have faith in Regard for that. But the number of splits or split mode versus subgrid mode. So subgrid mode and then if you hold Alt and scroll, you can change the size of the grid. So if I want a grid of size 1 would be pointless, but a grid of size 2, then you drag, and now it's dividing everything into, you know, little size 2 chunks. And it does alternate the colors in a way that looks really, I think for a grid of size 2, it's not that useful, but if you go up to like size 5, you know, you can see that it uses the green, and then like a red is every 5, and then every 5 reds will then be a yellow. And so it's like really helpful for measuring certain amounts of things. And then, you know, every 5 yellows would be whatever that last color was. And, you know, you can be like, oh, I want full chunks. So you do size 32, and now you've got, you know, chunks measured in your tape line. So that's subgrid mode. And then there's split mode, which is for if you want to balance things. So it's like, oh, I want to make a big box, and I want to see the thirds of it. And so then you can do this. And what's so cool about it is it renders the actual line that's halfway. So like, rather than rounding, you can actually see exactly where 1/3 of the way is. Yeah, that's what that is. So that's exactly 1/3. It will show you a half, I guess. And then this would be, you know, 2/3 of the way. So it's really, really helpful. So you can see if your midline, you know, is on an odd, or like if you want your 1/3 of the way across to be on an even, you know, line, or if you want it to be halfway between, because maybe you have a building that you want to place on the 3rd mark, but it's a 2x2 building, so you actually need, or wait, no, a 3x3 building, and so you need the center to actually be in the middle of a grid point, you know, like that sort of thing. This really helps you with arranging, like, what would your actual grid size be for that. I guess the 1/3 mark would never be exactly in the middle of a 3x3, but you could certainly do a split of 4, and I'm holding Alt and scrolling for that again. So if you want to split it into 4 equal parts, you know, then you can get it so that, like right there, you can see here a 3x3 building would be perfectly centered on that, you know, quadrant of it. So yeah, there you go. Tape line's really cool. I don't know what exactly is going on with the crashing of it, but once those things are fixed, then I'm sure it will be very stable. Ryguard's very good at fixing those sorts of things when he can reproduce them. What's interesting though is he already fixed the tape line crash. That was really hard to reproduce, and someone finally figured out how to reproduce it, and then he fixed that. And so I was interested to see that there's still another one. I don't know what exactly is so crashy about it. But yeah, we're gonna end the YouTube video. I've just been rambling for a while at this point, and we're gonna work on figuring out our new metal smelting stuff. So figure out metals, and that will be a process. So we're gonna be Zen gardening for a while now. I guess we can hand feed quite a bit more high science in that process, and we can get maybe a few more researches done. And we'll probably have an ore highway that will come up here. You like when things are centered. Exactly. But yeah, for those of you from future YouTube recording land, we're going to be done. But yeah, if you're here live, stick around. I'm not going anywhere. I will keep streaming. But for everyone else, as always, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next episode.